So, in proper podcast form, I have sneezed 87 times in the last 5 minutes, so I'm gonna have a sniffle the whole goddamn podcast. It's a curse. It's a curse. This podcast is cursed. Fuck. I feel like the guy from The Mummy where he's like, "This is cursed. That is cursed. This is a curse." Welcome everybody back to Not Rich Just Bored, episode number 30. What a milestone, 30. Been doing this for 30 hours, at least. Some of the older episodes were a little bit longer, so. But, some of the other episodes have been shorter, so, it balances out. Roughly 30 hours of content, not too bad. But, yeah, like I did say, I've just been, as soon as I sit down in my chair to go to record this thing, every time without fail I'll have perfect vocals, I'll be good to go. And I have I don't know what I have, to be honest. It's like a deviated septum, or I don't know. There's something wrong with my nose though, because I can only properly breathe really out of one side at a time. It's kind of weird. I did have my adenoids removed when I was young, so it's possible that those have grown back and they need to be removed. But it is something that's on my radar that I need to look into. But I don't know. It's so my voice always sounds nasally as it is, especially. But then when I'm when I can't breathe out of my nose properly, it's fucking worse. And again, I only got one nostril as it is, so of course when I have a sneeze attack, all the shit, it's all phlegmy, and because I could only do one nostril at a time, I can't really properly blow my nose, so it's a fucking nightmare. I won't get too much more into it, so hopefully I can fix it sometime. But don't worry, guys, we got a good thing for you today for episode 30. Jodie Sweetin was annihilated by the police. Did you guys hear about this? I honestly had to Google her because I don't know who it is. But it's Jodie Sweetin. I thought it was Sweeting, but it's Sweetin. She just dropped the G, I guess. She's from Full House, but I think she's from Fuller House, not Full House. Jodie Sweetin. Maybe she was from the original. Where's her IMDb? Oh, she was in the original. Okay. I was never a big Full House fan. And by that I mean I just didn't watch it. We didn't have TGIF. Alright, guys? So shut up. We just had fucking Farmer Vision growing up. So I was very sheltered from a lot of things. A lot of the original shows, like Fresh Prince and stuff like that, I would just watch here and there on TV. And then I'd watch at, school or whatever. I'd have VHSs or DVDs or something. So, I never grew up watching these, but that's interesting. Okay. So, wait, she's born in 1982? So she must... Who did she play on Full House? She must have been one of the kids then? Eh. Because I know the two twins were the Olsen twins. I don't know. Either way, doesn't fucking matter. She's not that renowned, but of course she's an activist, and like all those B-rate actors seem to fucking be these days. They're all some form of an activist, and I guess she got assaulted by the police. There's a video of it you can look up if you want. I'm sure if you Google it or YouTube it, it'll show up. But if you look at it, it's these people want to defund the police, and they want to make the police look so bad, right? That's what they want to do. That's their goal. But the problem is, they ask for this shit half the time. And if you watch the video, you guys can. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. You can draw your own conclusion if you watch it yourself. But to me, it kind of looks like she asked for it. It looked like she was kind of like fucking around where they were, and the video that's circulating just it conveniently starts as soon as she gets pushed, but she's by the police when it happens, and all the other protesters are back. So that tells me that she was fucking around. She was doing something. She was pissing around to try to provoke somebody. So I don't know. I when it comes to this shit, I just tend not to believe it because it always comes out that they're wrong. It always comes out that it's bullshit. They they like you always see these things where it's like, oh, this guy got assaulted by a police officer. It's like, okay, what did he do? Well, he didn't do anything bad. He only tried to grab the officer's gun. Like, fuck, that's stupid. It's like, are you crazy? Listen, guys, these police officers, and I have law enforcement in my family too, and they'll probably back me up on this. But listen to me. Those people are on alert 24/7. They constantly deal with pieces of shit. They constantly are stressed out. Always, every day, 24/7. Imagine Imagine the crackhead that you have to deal with in the alleyway sometimes when you're going into your office building to work. Yeah, they deal with that guy every day, all the time. So they're constantly on alert. They're constantly worried that, you know, what's this person doing? What's this guy doing? So they don't want to pull any punches. They don't want to give you a shot to catch them off guard. It's the same with the tint, right? People always complain about the limo tint. And I will be the first to admit that, I've gotten on police's case for it too. I'm like, fucking get a life. Why you give me a tint ticket? Go catch some bank robbers. But at the end of the day, it goes back to the safety thing. Because the guy, when that officer's coming up to your window, you could just be holding a gun right at the window. As soon as he puts it down, BAM! He's gone. You're done. That's why you get a TID ticket. Because they don't know. And yes, there's a whole argument that the back windows are tinted, so there could be somebody doing that in the back window. I get it. Nothing's perfect, guys. I get it. But my point is, these people have a hard job. They have a stressful job. And when these fucking protesters want to piss around with them and like get in their face and mock them, yeah, you're gonna get your ass shoved away, and you deserve to that. You deserve. When else can you do that? When else is it okay for you to just get in somebody's face and just like mock them and be a child? It's never okay. Okay. You guys want to be so inclusive. You guys want all this shit. But then it's like, no, we don't want any rights for police officers. They're fucking assholes. Like, get your shit together. I know. We've all had a bout of anger at a police officer because he gave you an unfair ticket. But you know what? The thing is, you're probably doing something wrong. And you were. The tint thing, it's very clear in the law. Speeding, it's very clear in the law. I know it sucks. I've gotten a speeding ticket too. I think we've all gotten those before. I will say I'm kind of perfect because I only ever had one, and that was later in life. I was like 24, so yeah. But photo radar, yeah, fuck that shit. Photo radar is a fucking scam. But that's not the police. That's usually your local jurisdiction or the city. So it's not too often that you see police with photo radar, unless they're actually pulling people over. They have a radar gun and then they proceed to pull you over. But the guy that just shoots your license plate and you get mailed a nice little bill, that's just usually like your local MD or your local city, like like Calgary and stuff will have their own local shit. So Either way, my point is, you guys can watch this video for yourselves, see what you think. I think she's probably fucking around, and now she's crying on social media and all this stuff. It's just like, ugh, these people are. It's just they're so weak. They're weak, and they're just trying to get basically they're just trying to get attention. They're trying to get eyeballs on them. It's no different to me than that stupid like Jussie Smollett. What was his name? I always call him Juicy Smollett because of the Dave Chappelle joke, but is it Jussie Smollett or whatever? I think it's Jussie Smollett, like where he like said he got a hate crime and then he went to the fucking police and he still had the noose around his neck. Like that was funny. I'm like, you're an idiot. I'm like, even the most racist fucking bastard in the world's like, yeah, he's full of shit. Oh my god, it's too funny. I'm just gonna text my brother here and tell him to be quiet, please. Because he's not home yet. So I want him to be quiet when he comes home. Anyways, where was I? So yeah, that's the Jodie Sweetin thing. Watch the video, figure it out for yourself. I think she's full of shit. She's a piece of shit. That's hardcore. Okay. Another thing is, yeah, there's Resident Evil. So Resident Evil 4, the remake, they got the trailer out. That's been out for a couple years. That was kind of on the back burner. And there's Resident Evil 8 DLC coming out, which is pretty cool. They're gonna add some mercenary mode shit. I guess they're adding a third person to that game. Again, this is old news now, but it was on the back burner, so I thought I'd just bring it up. It's kind of cool. You're gonna be able to play. I think you have to buy the DLC for it, but there's gonna be a story with Rose and I think there's another story with Chris, maybe. I can't remember, but there's going to be this mercenary mode where you can play in third person, and then you can also play as some of the villains. I think you can play as Lady Dimitrescu. I definitely didn't say that right. And Heisenberg and can't remember who else you can play as. Actually, I think you play as a puppet lady too. I think you play as everybody except the weird fish guy, which is actually kind of hilarious because that guy only ever wanted to be included, and then he wasn't included. So, but yeah, so that's gonna be fun, and we gotta keep a lookout for that. I think somebody just pulled up. Hopefully, that's not on my recording. I might have to close that window. Hold on 1 second. You guys will just hear me just rolling around here. It's such a nice breeze, though. But yeah, I'll have to close that window. Too much noise pollution. This is a professional production, god damn it. Where's my sound studio? Nah, it's just a sweaty guy recording naked in his bedroom. Anyways, so yeah, that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to bring that up. I'm pretty excited for that. Hopefully when it comes out, I'll be able to play it and maybe stream it. That'd be cool. Other than that, there's another thing that's kind of interesting. I don't know how I feel about it yet, but apparently there's a Duke Nukem movie coming out now, and there's some controversy. There's some controversy over the casting. Now, so I guess it's the guys that created Cobra Kai, apparently. And they're going to be directing this. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it because I mean the controversy that's going out is that it's going to be an actor playing Duke. So it's not going to be the original voice actor, which was John St. John. Which again, I have my own thoughts about that guy. But so the problem I have with the Duke Nukem movie, anybody who doesn't know Duke Nukem, I mean, first of all, get a life. or don't get a life. I don't know how which way that goes. It's kind of rides a fine line, but either way, um, when it comes to Duke Nukem, he was a very like controversial figure at the time, but he wasn't. He is a controversial like he's basically like this roided up fucking dude, but he's cool as shit and he kills aliens. And that's kind of his thing. He's like a bit of a misogynist, but it's like, you know, all the girls love him though because he's so manly and he kicks alien ass. So he's just kind of what you would say, I guess, a product of his time, but it's but I loved it. It's one of my favorite franchises ever, and I like his sense of humor. I like the character. I think it's a badass macho character, but the problem is, and this is obviously going to be obvious to anybody who knows the character, is that I don't think they'll be able to do a realistic version of him in a movie because it's not going to be good. They're not going to be able to. They're not going to be able to like use Duke's sense of humor and him giving money to strippers and you know being kind of a dickbag, because that's very frowned upon these days. It would just be like a movie for misogynists. It's like it's what Duke Nukem is he's like a parody of 80s action stars. That's what he is. Obviously, he looks a lot like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has the Rowdy Piper, you know, line from They Live. He's got like the time to kick ass and chew bubble gum, but I'm all out of gum. He's basically one big reference, and that's what a lot of people liked about um that's what a lot of people liked about the games was they always had good references in them, and they referenced pop culture and they referenced other video games, and even in a newer form, a lot of that stuff you can't do because you know it would be like people would just want to sue them almost or something. It'd be if you put Doom Guy in Duke Nukem, I almost feel like they would sue them for intellectual property or something at this point. But back in the day, it was kind of a free for all, so they used assets from like all different ones, like Doom and Rise of the Triad, and it's the references were out of control, and it was a great series, and it was fun. Fuck, that build engine was always so. That was such a great. That was such a great gaming platform in general. The build engine. I mean, they made that a recent game, Ion Theory, which was on the build engine, and it's fucking awesome. And there's another one. I can't remember what the hell it's called now. Might have been Gloomhaven. I don't remember. But there's another new game coming out on the build engine that I'm excited for. So it's just yeah, it's all nostalgia. But I don't know how it's gonna go. With this movie, I I don't. People who are big fans of Duke, I would not get your hopes up because I just there's gonna be a lot missing from this movie, and I can pretty well tell you, I could pretty well say that for certain. And it's kind of weird though because I don't understand media these days because all these big productions are so censored and they're so like I don't know. Everything is so streamlined, and everybody's so scared to like step an inch out of line. And but then you'll get random shows like The Boys on Amazon Prime, which absolutely does not hold back, and it's fucking really cool. And like that's probably one of the most like authentic shows, and a lot of people probably say it's like a lot of people said The Boys comics and stuff was just like murder porn and shit like that. And maybe to a degree it is, and it's just violent for the sake of violence. Maybe, I don't know. Never personally read the comics. The show is very gory, that's true, but it's just what I like about that show is that it's very it's very like real and honest. It To me it doesn't scream like cancel culture or and the show almost makes fun of like the show. If you've watched The Boys, it makes fun of like when there was a COVID lockdown, all those celebrities were singing that song. I can't remember what song they were singing, but they made that stupid cringy YouTube video where they're all singing it together, like we're all in this together, and then they kind of parodied that in The Boys, which was hilarious, and then there's all the woke shit in The Boys, but it's they make fun of it almost, and I don't know, it's a great fucking show, and I'd recommend it to anybody because there's certain shows that don't hold back, and like it's really crazy. And spoiler alert, I'll tell you, but like there's literally a scene where a guy his power is to shrink down, and then he shrinks down to like a very small size, and he crawls inside this guy's dick, and they're gay lovers, and he's just like stroking the inside of his cock from the inside of his like from the inside, and he's like, yeah, trying to get this guy off, and it's completely uncensored. You see everything, and then the guy accidentally sneezes, and then he expands to his normal size and tears the guy fucking in half. So it's kind of sad, kind of funny, but it's just like you would never see that in a film that's going to the theaters. Never. So I don't know. It's almost like everything's gone away from movies and they've moved more towards TV shows. And TV shows is kind of where the more like uncensored and crazy shit is happening. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because that's where like there's less, I don't know, less Hollywood involvement. But that can't even be because they're still like, for the most part, they're still, I guess a lot of them are B-rate actors or you know A rank, but you don't see any like the S tier guys for the most part. Like you won't see like, I don't know, probably won't see Chris Pratt in an Amazon Prime show unless it's a movie, but which he's been in tons of those movies. But I don't know what to tell you about that. I'm rambling, but I almost think maybe like the Duke Nukem movie, they should just do like a. I almost think they should just do like a TV show would almost be better. So I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with this. And again, obviously, people are the whole controversy right now is people are pissed off about the actor. I can't remember who's who here. Who is playing Duke Nukem? Duke Nukem. Oh, it comes up as John St. John, but I know that's not who's playing him. Weird. I don't know. It's not showing up. Maybe they haven't chosen a person quite yet. But either way, John St. John, from what I understand, is not playing the voice of Duke Nukem or the character. Obviously, they look quite a bit different. But that's the big controversy. Everybody's pissed off, and I understand that. I understand because it probably won't be the same without the original voice because John St. John, as much as he's kind of a, we'll say, hard left leaning person these days, and he's kind of gotten into the woke audience a little bit, which is unfortunate. But that happens to a lot of B-rate actors and voice actors and stuff. They kind of, to stay relevant, they got to go with the mob. So, I understand, but it is shitty. So it's just ironic that he played one of the most like offensive characters in video game history. But I don't know. Either way, I love I wish no ill will to John St. John. I think that guy's fucking badass, and he's a great voice actor. And I just wish he wasn't so riled up into the. I mean, he's no George Takei, that's for sure, but he's very left leaning, we'll say. But I don't know. We'll see what happens with this. Who knows? Maybe they'll dub it. Maybe they'll just dub it and have him dub over the guy. I doubt it, but you never know. We don't know too much about this movie yet. We just know it's coming. Much like the much like the Super Mario Brothers movie, the new one. So a lot of people are worried about that one. So we'll see how Chris Pratt. Speaking of Chris Pratt, we'll see how he does it in that movie. Um, so another one. There's also this is actually pretty exciting to me. Metroid Prime is coming out on the Nintendo Switch. They're doing an HD remaster of, I'm guessing, the first three games. Probably Metroid Prime Echoes, and then Metroid Prime Corruption? Was that it? Let me see. Prime. Yeah. Yeah, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. Oh, really? Metroid Prime 3 was on the Wii? That's crazy. Okay. Yeah, Metroid Prime 2 is Echoes. See, I played Metroid Prime, the original. I love that game. That game was so fucking badass. Metroid Prime 2, it was still good. I didn't think it was as good though. I thought the second one just it was good, but it was weird. Because I think that was the one where they got like the light and dark beam, I think. I don't know, I can't remember. I haven't played those games in so long. I just remember loving, like, because I was always like a Metroid fan growing up. I never really played the NES. I played the NES one briefly as a rental. The Super Nintendo one though, I didn't really um I didn't really play. I've never actually really played Super Metroid, as surprising as it sounds, considering I've played like Metroid Fusion and Metroid 2 on the Game Boy, and then the remakes. But and the last Metroid game was pretty awesome too. The Metroid Dread, that was a great game. I 100%ed it. That was, holy shit. What the hell's going on here? I'm just looking. I'm just, when I googled that, there's there's people selling Metroid Prime. It's it's factory sealed, I guess. Holy fuck, though! They're trying to sell it for $2,800. Jesus, those water graded are so. It's such a fucking scam. Sorry, I could go on a huge tangent here, but basically, there was there's. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. Basically, there's you can get your games graded, so they'll give them a scale of 1 to 10, based on the condition of the game and what what it is, if it's sealed or if it's opened or complete in box, whatever. So they'll they'll grade your games like that. And WATA, so VGA used to be the original, and they're still around too. But then this company WATA, WATA, they came out of nowhere years ago, and they started grading games, and they kind of became the gold standard for graded games, and which was whatever, it's fine. It's just grading games. Who cares? But then you kind of learn the sinister part of it, which is there's another there's another company called Heritage Auctions, which some of the guys that are on the board of Heritage Auction are also on the board of WATA, and so you see where this is going. Basically, WATA would grade the games, make them worth a bunch of money, say they're worth a bunch of money, and then the auction house would sell them. So it was basically like insider trading or market. I guess it would be market manipulation, is what you'd call it. But it happened all the time with Pawn Stars too. Like when that guy brought that sealed Super Mario Brothers on Pawn Stars. I think I talked about it on the podcast. And they're like, whoa, we've seen these go for $1 million. And there's that whole, it's crazy and it's dark. Carl Jobst, he's the man. He actually did a whole episode on his channel. I'd recommend checking out. He did a whole episode about the collusion between WADA and Heritage Auctions, and it's pretty fucking insane once you go down that rabbit hole and realize that these games aren't worth shit. Like they're worth something. Don't get me wrong, but they're not worth that much. And it's crazy that they value them sometimes at these insane numbers, and it's overblown, and it's just so they can make money, and it makes me sick, honestly. Like, and the biggest problem they had was when there was a sealed, because there was a sealed Super Mario 64, and it went for $1 million, I think. And yeah, like, everybody who knows the N64 knows that the Super Mario 64 is not worth $1 million. They printed millions of copies of that game, probably. It's so common. It came with some N64s. It's like having a graded Super Mario World or a graded Mario Duck Hunt. Like, it just doesn't make sense. But either way, that's my tangent on WADA Games, and they are in trouble right now. They're getting investigated, I believe, by the Federal Trade Commission, I think. So again, I think I did talk about this on the podcast before, but yeah, hopefully they get their just desserts. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Yeah, Metroid Prime coming to the Switch. That's awesome that they're remaking all those. And this is another problem I have with the video game industry is, well, not video game industry, just Nintendo. Nintendo has such a like silver spoon in their mouth. Like, they're so, I don't know why they're just so set in their ways, and it pisses me off more than anything, because they're sitting on a gold mine. They're literally sitting on a gold mine of games they could release or re-release, and people would be willing to buy them. But they just don't. And I think I've talked about this before, but I'm going to say it anyway again, because they piss me off. Because they should have, they need an online store like Steam. They don't need to give it to Steam. They don't have to do that if they don't want to. Like, I'm not saying sell out. I'm just saying have your own damn store, which they do. They have that Nintendo online store. Just put all your games on there. What the fuck are you guys doing? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. They have all these properties, and like me, I have one of my biggest examples is Metroid Fusion. I want, ever since the whole Metroid Dread thing, I wanted to replay Metroid Fusion, but it's only available on the Game Boy Advance, and I think they released it on the Wii Virtual Console, but ever since then, nothing. What? Why? Why don't they put it on? Why don't they put it on their store? Just put it on there. Literally, it's a license to print money. But for some reason, Nintendo doesn't want to pull the trigger on any of that. It's like, literally, they lock it in the goddamn Disney vault. They have like this whole collection of games that they just, I don't know what it is. They want to keep it to themselves. I don't know. And it can't be a licensing thing for a lot of these, because it's their property. Metroid, Zelda, and like some of that stuff, they got that, their online service, and you get a lot of their NES games and Super NES, and then if you want to pay over double the price, you can get N64 games, which is a joke, but I already talked about that, so don't get me started. But like, just put a virtual store, Nintendo. Put all your games on there. From NES to now. Just put them all on there. Print money. I would pay the money. I would pay the money for that. I absolutely would. You know what? Rather than pirate the game or like, emulate it, I'd be willing to dish out, $4 or $5 for a game I want, you know? But Nintendo is always so fucking stuck in their ways. And they just don't want to do the smart thing. And it's like, and I hate, and there's morons online that will defend them. They'll be like, well, they did release it on the Wii. I'm like, oh, great. But guess what? I have a Switch. I don't have a fucking Wii. And I don't feel like playing on that clunky piece of shit. So you're saying I want to play this old Game Boy Advance game, so I gotta go buy a Wii on eBay, which is probably overpriced because of the pandemic, and then I gotta turn it on, get get the virtual store on there, which is not the same store as the new Nintendo store, and then I gotta buy Metroid Fusion and then only play it on that old ass console. Fuck you. No, that's not gonna work. Just release it. That's all I'm saying. It would be so easy. And you can't tell me that because you can't tell me that it'd be hard. And something tells me that they're just gonna keep going with the Switch or the Super Switch when it comes out or whatever the new model is gonna be called when it gets released. Um, like they'll probably keep doing. They'll do the NES, classic ROMs, which they did. So then they did Super Nintendo. Now they have those Sega Master System, I think, and they had 64, and then they'll probably throw Game Boy Advance games on there or Game Boy games, or they'll probably keep going on with that. But it's like, and that's cool to do stuff like that. But just put your games out on the store. People will buy it. I'm telling you. But like Nintendo's always they're so stupid. They're behind the curve. It was so weird to me because they were so at the top of their game in the 90s, like late 80s, 90s. They were kings. Even the early 2000s, the GameCube was fucking banging. But I don't know what happened. Ever since the Wii, they've kind of just like shit the bed in a lot of ways. And don't get me wrong, there's some nice games coming out. Like I said, Metroid Dread, Mario Odyssey, the Galaxy series on the Wii U. I didn't play it, but I've watched speed runs of it. It looks pretty fun. I just don't like the motion controls, but whatever. Nintendo still makes quality products, but they're just the way they do their classic stuff is just literally giving me cancer. So I don't know. These remakes I'm excited for because it is 3 games and they're pretty long. So hopefully they put it at a decent price point. Like honestly, I think $40 would be like good, but it'll probably be a full price game. But like I think it should be more around 40, and that's $40. I guess $50 Canadian. So that'd be like $4 American, something like that. But a normal game is about $80 in Canada. So like a brand new game, AAA title. They're 79.99, baby. But yeah, so yeah, that's something to look forward to. Metroid Prime, uh, HD remasters, 1 to 3 coming to Switch in a bundle. So I'm excited for that. Uh, I guess I'll cover this quickly because it is a thing that's happened. It's not much. I don't know much about it, but R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison, I guess. So basically, that's a death sentence. So because how old is he? He's got to be 50 at least. That's R. Kelly. How old is R. Kelly? Yeah, R. Kelly's 55. People, these always get me. The people always ask. People also ask on Google. The two that people also ask is R. Kelly rich? Does R. Kelly have a learning disability? What the fuck? Oh my god. What the fuck? That's so weird. I have no idea what that is. Yeah, he's 55. So So yeah, he'll be 85 when he's out. So he'll be as old as Bill Cosby is now. And Bill Cosby is, he's out of jail. So, who knows? Maybe he'll get out early. Maybe he'll have some good behavior. But I got a feeling this poor guy's going to get tortured in prison. Probably going to get pissed on and shit on. And as he should, because he's a fucking creeper. I don't know. Obviously, the guy had some good music back in the day, but it's one of those separate the art from the artist kind of things because he's a fucking creeper. Same with like one of my most nostalgic horror movies is what the hell is it called? Jeepers Creepers. But apparently the director is a pedophile or something. So I'm like, ugh, that's ugly. So again, you gotta separate the art from the artist. So again, I don't know exactly what he did. I know it had something to do with sex trafficking, and obviously he was pissing on girls and shit. Like he's just a weird fucker, I think, is what it is. So it's probably best that he's going away. Hopefully, he goes away a little bit longer than um, America's Dad did. But anyways, moving on. This will probably be the last topic of the day. Um, and it's just something that I want to talk about. It's kind of a twofer, but uh, it's kind of been catching fire lately, and it's the obviously the Roe versus Wade thing in America. It's a pretty sensitive subject, I know, and it's it's a sign of the times that th- the world is changing. We'll put it that way, and people who used to be oppressed are now they're getting rights, and things are turning for the most part. The world's a better place, as far as slavery goes in these first world countries and all that stuff. But unfortunately, this one seems to be a step in the wrong direction. uh it seems like we're going backwards. Now, here's the thing. To me, abortion is the most it's the most simple it's the most simple complex thing in the world. That's what it is. Because it's, to me, this is my personal opinion. Do what you want. No girl, no woman should ever be forced to have a baby. If they don't want it, they should not have to be forced in, into having it. It should be their choice. And they can live with the guilt or whatever, If it's going to eat at them, it's going to eat at them. But it should be their choice. Okay? So, as long as they're okay with it, then it's not your fucking business. That's what it comes down to. But the problem is, like I said, it's the most simple, complex thing ever. Because the complexity of it is, for me, I'm like, yeah, vacuum cleaner that fucking, that egg out. Vacuum cleaner it. Sure. But, uh, 7 months, 8 months, different story, you know? It's not just a cluster of cells anymore. That's not just you know, an egg. That's, it's something. It's living inside it. It's breathing, you know, through you, but it's something. And, I, I look at, you know, my kids when they were born, and I just think, you know, if it was, late term, and something had gone wrong, or she had decided to get rid of him, that would have been harder to that would have been, you know, that would have been harder to deal with. Because I look at my daughter and she's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You know? My son, I look at them, they're beautiful children. And you bring them into this world, it's different when it's late term, that's a different story. Because they're actually alive at that point. That's where I personally have a problem with it. That's where I, kind of draw the line for me. And that's what makes this issue so complex, is that it's not just black and white. It's many different shades because, again, early term, when there's no limbs formed, no nothing, no brain, no nothing, yeah, whatever. Do your thing. But when it's later in life, when they're almost fully formed, that we'll put it this way. If I was in the woman's place, I couldn't live with myself. At that point, I couldn't. I would feel bad. And I know women personally that have had early term abortions, like a month or two, and they felt bad. Like, and I don't know if that's just peer pressure or I don't know. I don't know why they felt bad. I can't stipulate on that, but like they felt bad when it was just a cluster of cells. When I wouldn't feel bad at that. But if you saw, like, if you had to actually technically deliver, you know, a dead baby that was aborted because it was more formed, that would be a little traumatizing, I think. That's just me personally. I, yeah, I think about my children when I think about that. And I'm just like, I can't imagine having aborted them. They have their own personalities, and they're people now. I made I made one person. The other person was a donation, but he's still mine. I still love him, and I'm glad he's here. So it's different, guys. I get it. I understand, and I think ultimately the law is wrong in this one in America. I think they are wrong. It should be the woman's right. But I just want to tell you guys what makes it so complex. Because it's not, for a lot of people, it's not a religious thing. It's not anything like that. It's deeper than that. It's just, it is one of those things where it's like, at what point is it murder? You know what I mean? At what point are you essentially snuffing out a life? And again, there's so many variabilities too, because there's other things like obviously there's cases like like rapes. That's the one that's brought up a lot is, well, what happens if a girl gets raped? Well, yeah, obviously she shouldn't have to keep that. That's fucked. And and the other one is like when there's medical problems, if the baby's not gonna make it, if the mother's not gonna make it, stuff like that. Yeah, obviously a decision has to be made to save a life, you know? So I think that should all be acceptable. And the biggest problem I have is these religious fucks. It's I don't mind Ben Shapiro a lot of times. I think he makes a lot of sense. But when it comes to like abortion, I think he's out of his fucking mind. Because it's strictly hardcore right wing, it's a sin kind of thing. Like he's Jewish or whatever, so I don't know if it's a sin for them. I assume it is because he's pretty fucking crazy about it. But you know, so like that's where I differ from people like Ben. I don't think a cluster of cells is a human baby. I just, I don't. So I don't know. I just think it is very complex, and it is sad to see that the American system seems to be going backwards, and you know, hopefully that doesn't happen up in Canada, and hopefully, but on the flip side of that coin, though, I think a lot of these activists are out of their fucking minds too, because there's like I said, um, with the whole development of a baby. I think Ben Shapiro actually shared this photo. Um, you could probably Google it or look on his Instagram maybe. But there was, uh, I'll have to bring it up here. Where is it? Oh, maybe I didn't save it. I don't know. Either way, it's it's a picture of this activist that's, you know, they're protesting the Roe versus Wade turnover, and it's this girl, and she's like very, very pregnant. I'd say she's probably 8 months pregnant at least. Like she's almost about to pop, and she has written on her belly, um, in paint or whatever, body paint. It says "not yet a human," or I think it said "still not a human" on her belly. And guys, again, that gets back that's where it's like, okay, you're crossing the line at that point. It's because I think you'd change your mind if you saw that baby. Because yeah, when you're 8 months in, guys, that is almost most certainly a baby. It has a brain. It has like everything at that point, pretty much. So when I see shit like that, it grosses me out. I think it's a gross thing. It's just it's a little too much for me. I don't mean like it's too much for me. Like I can't handle it. I mean like it's like you're crossing the line at that point. You're just being a crazy fucking activist at that point, and you're just trying to be loud to change the law, but that's not what you do. What you do is you fight it with litigation and a solid argument. You don't be a fucking retard. And then there's like um and then there's other activists that had they had signs that I saw, and it had like a kill count on it, and like some of these girls were up to like over 50 abortions, and it's like, okay, as much as I think it should be their choice, I don't think abortions should be like, I don't think it should be like a fucking wall in a jail cell. You should be counting the number, you know. I don't think it's something like you should be proud of. I don't think so. I mean, if you guys think so, I mean, you guys could definitely comment and let me know how you feel about that. But I really, to me, again, it's almost an embarrassing thing, or it's like a oops kind of thing, I don't think, I don't think getting an abortion should be like yes, one more, got it in the bank. Like, like personally, I was like, if you've had over, you know, if you've had close to 5 abortions, you should probably get your tubes tied or something, or get the guy's dick, get his dick snipped. Because yeah, at that point, it's a little much. You're obviously not practicing safe sex or whatever. So I don't know. I don't tell you guys. I think it's. I hope they can retract it. I hope they could, figure it out, and we could keep progressing as a. I hope we can keep progressing as a species, and because this is one of those things that I think they're wrong on, and I think even though I'm a more conservative person, I do think I I do think this is one thing that, and I don't even like to say I'm conservative because I'm really not. I am in the middle for almost everything. I'm like socially liberal, and then for um socially liberal, and then for guns and money, like spending, I'm more conservative. So I'm a hybrid. I'm one of those. I'm one of those hybrids. I'm a Kia Sorento. But either way, guys, I again, hopefully, you guys can figure it out. Hopefully, America can get their shit together and progress. But I don't know. Remains to be seen. So that's really all I had for you guys today. Was just that. I, I, I wanted to. That was the last topic. Was definitely kind of a bigger one, kind of a heavier one, because I even though I think they're wrong, I think people need to understand that there's levels to this shit. And the one thing I didn't even mention was that if it's a couple that has a baby, or or you had a baby with somebody else, you know, ultimately the woman's decision, obviously. But I think, you know, if it's a couple, shouldn't the guy have some say in it to a degree? I mean, it's his child, right? So that's another level of complexity, right? Again, has nothing to do with religion. Religion needs to stay the fuck out of everything because religion is bullshit. And religion has caused nothing but trouble for the last years that everybody's been alive, ever. Religion has been nothing but a fucking burden. So, I mean, again, I want people to practice their own religion. You can do whatever you want, but keep it out of politics. Keep it out of everything, basically. But either way, that's all I got for you guys today. So thank you guys for watching, well, listening, I guess. Hold on a minute there, brother. Thank you for listening or watching the static screen. It is a nice static screen, you got that kind of like retro wave. I'm gonna hopefully get somebody on Fiverr to do a proper background for me on the podcast. And yeah, again, Houster is not on. He has been, yeah, he's been slammed at work, and he's just been kind of doing his own thing. So we'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll just roll solo, and he could be a guest at some point, and other people can be guests. Who knows who knows where this will go. I definitely do like having other people on. It's nice to talk to people. So either way, I will see you guys in the next episode. And don't forget to follow the podcast on social media if you haven't already. Links are in the description. And I swear, I'm going to be streaming sometime. Maybe I'll be streaming tonight. Tonight's the 30th. So, oh, that reminds me. Yeah, for everybody, because I won't be on here, Happy Canada Day to everybody in Canada. And yes, I do say that. And I will probably have a topic next week about Canada Day, because people seem to be very ungrateful in Canada, and there's a group of people that want to not celebrate Canada Day because they think Canada's horrible, so they think it's bad to celebrate it, which I think is just fucking ignorant, but whatever. We'll talk about that next week. So, thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.